Working alongside venue professionals, everyone on my team has heard the little pieces of advice that they share that make this huge difference for couples. They know things that you just can't know without the type of perspective that they have. So I reached out to the best venues in the New Orleans area and I asked them for tips for engaged couples to save stress, time, and money on their wedding. All right, so from their answers, we are bringing you the secret savings advice from the top New Orleans wedding venues. I'm excited, I'm sure you're excited, so let's get to it. And stay till the end to hear the one thing all these venues agreed is a must. I'm Adrienne, wedding coordinator and founder of Uncommon Camellia. If you're planning your own wedding, this channel has all the tips and support you'll need. We're gonna start with Chris Jones, who's the owner of Felicity Church. It's an old historic church that he and his wife restored and converted into this incredibly beautiful wedding venue located in the historic Lower Garden District. So starting strong here, right at the gate, one of my favorite pieces of advice in this entire video. Here's what Chris says. Every wedding has a budget. Big or small, there's always a budget. Spend as much of that budget as possible paying other people to do things for you. Pay other people to do things for you. Here's the second piece of advice from Chris. Plan an after party. You don't have to run out of place, just call a few weeks beforehand and let them know you're coming with your guest. They'll be able to hire extra staff and they make money and you get served faster. So he's not really saying that you need to book a venue for your after party as much as he's saying if you're having an informal after party at a bar, call ahead and let them know. He also shares, first looks are the best. Often I find that grooms say they don't want a first look because they think that's what the bride wants them to say. It's still a powerful moment, and once it's explained how much time and stress it saves, it's a no-brainer. Another great piece of advice. You don't have to have a lot of options for food. Sometimes 3 to 4 well-made dishes are a better option than 10 to 12 slapped together items. And remember, staff is more important than food. It comes to the way the event will run. If budget is tight and it's between the shrimp puffs and an extra server or busser, use the shrimp puffs. I really could not agree more with that. Best second line drink is Trader Joe's canned champagne. Hands down, it's $5 for a 4-pack. Don't give your guests options on second line drinks. Just a can of champagne or a small bottle of water. Grab and go. No holding up the line. Okay, this is for nighttime second lines that are not in the quarter. Don't worry about handkerchiefs as they won't be seen very well. Opt for glowing, blinky things. They'll show up great on pictures and video, and people get pretty jacked up when you pass them out. They do. Chris has always given this advice. Once I heard him say this, now this is what we always tell brides too. 20-inch sparklers are the ones you want. 36 inches are too long and people get sick of them, and the short ones are too short and it's really tight for pictures. And it's true, it's very hard as a coordinator to get tiny sparklers lit in time to also have the bride and groom walk through them and get a decent picture. If you're doing a bubble exit, rent a bubble machine or have some bubble gums. The cheap bubbles don't have enough output to show up great in pictures. If you do speeches, do them during the rehearsal dinner. Really, do them during the rehearsal dinner, people. Everyone who's there will be the people who want to hear it because your cousin's boyfriend don't care. Let me stop for a minute to say, do you see what I mean yet? Venues have a wealth of information. Have you heard those tips anywhere else? No, you haven't. Me either. That's why I'm always picking the brains of venue professionals. They know things. Comment below if you agree. Subscribe and hit that notification bell so you can keep getting this sort of content. Stephanie Baker is the president of the Wedding International Professionals Association, WIPA, and she's also the catering sales manager at Marché. So if you're not familiar with Marché, it's located above the French Market in the French Quarter, and they have an unbelievable view of the quarter and the Mississippi River. Here's what Stephanie says. She says consider what she calls a turnkey venue. The more the venue includes, the less you will have to spend on items to bring in. This will also help reduce stress and save time from needing to find additional pieces and working with more vendors. If you're trying to save money, go with a Friday or Sunday or off-peak dates. Generally, these dates have lower food and beverage minimums and rental fees associated with them. Your guest count will play the largest factor in the cost of your wedding, even during off-peak season. Maggie Zschiedrich is the director of sales with Mussinas Catering. In addition to providing off-site catering, Mussinas has 2 wedding event spaces. The iconic Terminal Building, a 1930s Art Deco venue at the New Orleans Lakefront Airport, and the rooftop on Basin atop the historic Basin Street Station. Take out DIY. A lot of couples want to make their own centerpieces, bouquets, photo booth backdrops, etc. to save time or money. This will only add stress. Trust us. I have had too many couples say to me they will never do their own bouquets or make their own centerpieces again because, remember, a lot of the DIY things might only be able to be configured the day of your wedding, and that is the last thing you want to do the morning of your wedding day. It's your big day. Relax, soak up every minute because it goes by fast. Hiring professionals might be more expensive now, but in the long run, you'll be thankful you did. Who wants to be putting together a photo booth backdrop hours before your wedding ceremony at your reception venue? Jenny Dyer is the historic house manager at the Pitot house. It's a historic venue and gardens on Bayou St. John. Here's what Jenny says. Skip the decorations. Many venues in our area are special because of their unique setting, which requires very little added effects to create a lovely backdrop. Too often, I've seen couples spend too much time and money on decorative stations and details that really aren't necessary to the overall mood of the venue. All those little things add up, and often the venue itself is lovely enough without it. Use the venue as it is. Isn't that why you chose it? And you'll cut out a little extra headache and expenditure. She also says, negotiate. Many smaller venues are negotiable about their pricing and what you get for that pricing. If you're honest and upfront about your needs and your budget, you can often find ways to work out an agreement with your venue to discount some of your fees or add some extras. Don't be afraid to ask. Let me add to that. You cannot negotiate anything until you have figured out your real budget. One mistake couples make is going in asking for a discount without knowing what a fair price is for the venue. So know what you want and what you're willing to sacrifice before you go into any negotiation. This video will help you figure that out. Raven Ousley is the sales manager at the Court of Two Sisters, home to the French Quarter's largest courtyard. Here's what Raven says. Repurpose your floral from the ceremony space to the indoor reception space. One of the great benefits of having your ceremony and reception in the same location is you'll be able to get your money's worth out of those decorations and florals. Most venues will allow you to drop off personal items for the wedding setup. Just ask. We will allow our clients to drop off items up to 2 days beforehand. You think you have a lot of time on the rehearsal day and the day of, but the time goes much faster than you think. This is one less thing to worry about. And there's kind of a theme, like you hear a lot of venue owners and venue representatives say that you don't have as much time as you think you have on the days leading up to your wedding. All right, another piece of advice from Raven. I would recommend a New Orleans cocktail style reception, meaning it's a free-flowing seating plan. You can save money and the headache on seating charts, table numbers, and name cards. Less is more here in New Orleans. Jennifer Green is the social event sales manager at OBriens on the River, a wedding venue in Jack's Brewery. Here's her advice. If you choose an all-inclusive venue, you don't have to worry about finding a catering company, bartending services, or a rental company. Scale back on the wedding cake, especially if you already have a groom's cake. Everyone doesn't eat cake, maybe 2/3 of the guests. More times than not, there's a ton of leftover cake at the end of the night that either gets boxed up or tossed. If there are concerns about having enough cake, there's always an option to do a kitchen cake with a smaller wedding cake for display. Second line through the venue and have your reception entertainment play the music. A lot of our couples go this route to incorporate the tradition without the additional expense of a permit, police escort, and separate second line band. Check out our video on how to get that permit if you're curious. Okay, I saved one piece of advice that most of these venue professionals gave until now. They said you should hire a coordinator or a planner. I didn't want to include that in their advice because the truth is, I'm not trying to sell you our services. We do this YouTube channel as an added service for our clients and for anyone who's planning their own wedding. But I do think their advice is valid and something you should consider, so I'm sharing it all here at the end. Chris Jones said, get a wedding coordinator. Stephanie Baker, hire a wedding coordinator or a planner. They can save you from making costly mistakes in the booking process that will also alleviate stress and save you time. Maggie said, hire a planner or a coordinator. Having a professional solely focused on your day is so important. As the couple, you do not realize how much planning and tasks there are, especially the week and the day of. So having someone there for you will definitely ease your mind, and the vendors' minds too. Jenny Dyer said, hire a coordinator. As the manager of a lovely historic DIY venue, I can't stress enough how much time and stress can be saved by hiring a coordinator. They take the guesswork out of hiring vendors, creating a timeline, using the site to its potential, and so much more. Each DIY venue has its own set of quirks and unique policies that coordinators are typically more aware of. They're intimately familiar with common problems that pop up and already have a toolbox for handling them. They are there to see that things run smoothly, even at an unusual or challenging venue. Every penny spent on their assistance is worth it. Raven also said, booking a day of coordinator will be life-changing. So there it is, their advice on whether you should have a coordinator. All of this sort of insider information is exactly what positions some couples to avoid stress, budget their money well, and efficiently plan the day from start to finish. It's worth doing this research on the front end, learning these little tips and tricks, and then going about planning the actual wedding. Please join me in thanking these venues for offering their advice by checking out their websites and social media pages listed in the notes. And to you viewers, thanks so much for tuning in, and I'll see you next week. Happy wedding planning.